Okay, so let's move on to the last tip, which is tip 5. And tip 5 is substituting manual cropping with our AI powered cropping technique, which we call G Auto. The Cloudinary's intelligent gravity selection capabilities ensure that the most interesting areas or specified areas of each asset are selected as the main focus for the requested crop. This is not only for assets with faces, but for many content types. So, depending on what's specified, each asset is analyzed individually to find the optimal region to include while cropping. So, this means that you can crop your assets and not have to worry about if the focal point is still being displayed when applying G Auto. Automatic cropping is a fantastic way to not only help you save time, but it's also a great way to free your teams from completing these manual tasks, allowing you to streamline your publishing workflows. So, what does this actually look like? So, I won't go too programmatically into it. As you guys now have seen these image functions, this is pretty much how you would specify them. And I want to focus a little bit more on what each different one does. So, let's start with just G Auto here. So here you can see we're using the image tag function. We're specifying the image. Here we've got the basketball in net. And then we're setting the gravity parameter to auto. Then we're specifying the height, the width, and the crop. So let me show you what that would look like in the browser here. So we'll go ahead and navigate to this particular URL. And so you can see here, oh, sorry, I skipped a slide forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this G Auto URL here. So this is the basketball in net, and you can see we have G Auto specified, but without that, if we were to see the original asset, it's actually this whole image here. So once we're applying G Auto and we're cropping it, we are ensuring that we're still focusing in on this particular area and not showing just a blurred crowd in the background there. So that would be what using G Auto looks like. The next would be G Auto North. So that is more so, or not G Auto North, but G Auto with a specified direction, a compass direction here. So that definitely helps. And I know I covered it a bit earlier. So, but you can still see here that we're specifying the gravity to be north in this particular example. So what that would look like here is we've got our sample image that you can see. And then we have it specified to G North and specifying the crop, the height, and the width. And so if you really wanted to, you could change it to, as you had seen earlier, if you want it to be northwest, you could do that. Or if you want it to be northeast, you would essentially just plug that in, whether it's within your code or in the URL itself. You would just enter that, and now you can see that we've moved around to a different part of the image. So, of course, if you know you just want to focus on a particular region, you can use this compass direction. And even as I showed you earlier, you can use X and Y parameters to really hone in on an area. But essentially, for this particular use of G Auto, you would just be showing a particular region of the asset. So the next would be G Auto Face. So this is a great way if you know that you're going to have faces in an image, depending on what your use case may be, and you want to make sure that these faces are the focal point. This is when you would specify gravity face. And then, of course, once again, we're specifying height, width, and crop mode. So what would that look like here as an example? So here you can see we've got G face specified and we've got this face pretty much front and center for this cropped image. So what does the image look like when not using this? The original asset is a girl in her pretty much upper torso, along with a butterfly and a whole jungle in the background. So you can see that we, by specifying G face, are able to make sure that she is still in the picture. And then we do also have G faces if you have more than one face in there. So you can use that as well if you know that you'll have multiple people. And that essentially will look at how to fit the predominant faces in an image. Of course, you may have a group of people to the left and maybe one to the right. So that will analyze the image and say, hey, there's a group of people here. Let's focus on them. rather than that single face on the right. And then the next method would be G Auto Object. This is a really cool way to scale your assets using G Auto. There is pretty much a ton of categories and objects that you can specify here. I would highly recommend looking at the documentation for this because it is so vast. I'm not sure what the count is at the moment, but I believe it's over 600 objects at this point. It might even be more, to be honest. But you can see here. So, for example, this is more of perhaps an e commerce use case. If you're selling kitchen items, you can see that we've got a picture of a kitchen. And then we actually want to focus in on the sink here. So we're setting gravity to auto and then specifying the object that we want to find within that image. So what is that going to look like? Let's take a look in the browser here. So here you can see perfectly, we've got a sink front and center and as the focal point. So if we did not have that specified, what would this actually look at? So let's take this out. We'll show the original asset. And you can see there is a ton of items that are actually showed here. And so by putting in that G Auto Sync, it was able to find the sink in the image and make that the focal point. And if you wanted to, you could also specify G Auto Refrigerator, G Auto Microwave. And there's really just a ton of objects that you can look for within an image. So for those of you who will find this useful, I would highly recommend going through that list and seeing how that can help you, whether it's clothing, whether it's cards, there's all types of objects that you can find and focus in on when cropping. And then the last would be G Auto for video. So this is also a great way, of course, for videos, because as we all know, focusing in on a video can really be a tough thing to do. So essentially with G Auto for video, we're going to try and analyze frame for frame the objects that are in it. So in this particular example with the ship, we're going to have a moving ship throughout the video here, and this would essentially focus in on that ship throughout the duration of while it's in frame. So let me show you what that would look like. So you can see we've got that ship here. It's starting out from the left. And then it's pretty much going to stay in focus throughout here. We specified this to be to have a width of 300. We're using the crop mode fill. And then we pretty much just specified G auto and then having the aspect ratio of 1:1. So you can see that video or that specific transformation pretty much kept the video in focus. And so you can, of course, use this for all types of videos. For example, if you have models that are walking through showing outfits, this will keep the model in focus as they may walk kind of not always in a straight line. They're walking across the stage or whatever it may be. That will keep them in focus. So G Auto for video is a great way to keep all the focal point in the frame every time. So those are pretty much the different ways in which you can use G Auto. Of course, you can see here I was using the Cloudinary video tag function in this particular example, but of course you can specify them whether it's an image tag, a video tag. You can use these all throughout your code to have these embedded with their specified transformations ready to go. So of course you can use this at scale to have all of your images and videos cropped with the focal points always displaying.